Blood alone moves the wheels of history. Not only the years we've been at war, the war of work, but from the moment, as a child, when we realized that the world could be conquered.
For a long time, there has been some disagreement as to whether or not nihilistic bombardment is a good strategy. Some players think it's simply too slow and useless, others think it is necessary to get past the crippling slowdown of pop growth in the mid-game. Well, today I'm going to answer that question once and for all, at least until it probably gets patched, and say that nihilistic bombardment is probably one of the most powerful things you can do in Stellaris as of Galactic Paragons. I'm also going to be playing through something of a full game, so stick around for that, and let me introduce you to the Nagyarian Imperium of definitely not Klingon looking folks are the empire I'm going to use to show off nihilistic bombardment. Now the first thing that might jump out at you here is I'm going with the life-seeded origin. This means I will get a massive size 30 Gaia world as my starting world, but I will have no guaranteed habitable planets. And on top of that, I won't be able to choose a climate preference. My not Klingons will be locked into Gaia world preference, meaning they're on 0% habitability on any other planet. Normally, this would be a bloody bad idea. However, in this video, it's going to be essential to get the maximum out of our non-consensual immigrants. You can choose whatever civics and whatever ethics you want. The only thing I'd recommend is go for some form of militarist, and also make sure to choose either authoritarian or xenophobe, which will allow you to enslave aliens. Slavery is going to be very important for this build. I've gone for a mix of militarist, spiritualist and authoritarian. I've grabbed masterful crafters because it's going to be very useful to get extra building slots from our industrial districts, as well as additional consumer goods and trade value from our artisans. Otherwise, I've gone with death cults because I would like to go around sacrificing some pops. Future Montu here. It turns out the death cult thing actually is pretty much useless. I don't want to sacrifice my primary species, and for whatever reason, I can't make slaves work the mortal initiate job, no matter how much I have been trying. It would probably have been better to start with something like Distinguished Admiralty to give all of my ships and admirals a leg up right at the beginning of the game. Now we're going to be playing a very, very tall build with this empire, and to that effect, the Imperial Authority type will be absolutely darn fantastic. Plus 10% resources from jobs in our capital system is especially tasty. Otherwise, I've gone for a couple of traits that are going to make my leaders better, give me more engineering research, and generally breed my not Klingons just a bit faster. If you want to play along at home, these are the settings I've used for this game. If you're enjoying this video and you'd like to do something to support this channel and get your hands on some fantastic discounts, the Paradox Spring Humble Bundle sale is now on. Stellaris is 75% off and most DLC are up to 50% off. Follow the link down in the description or the pinned comment to get your discounts and support this channel. We're starting in the Corinth system with quite a fantastic start. We have a Gaia world, meaning we get extra pop happiness, extra resources from jobs, and 100% habitability for all pops no matter what. There are no reductions we can ever have to get this below the magic 100%. When it comes to policies, I'm going to switch on over into militarized economy to just get that edge with alloy production as soon as I can. I'm starting off here making 19 alloys per month, but I want that number to go higher because I'm going to be going for some very early conquests. Otherwise, the next important thing we do is we set our default rights for all slaves. Now, you're going to want to change over to domestic servitude. This will mean you will have absolutely no economic and or amenities problems later on in the game as we acquire extra servants. You could also put them onto basic subsistence. There's really not much difference between that and decent conditions, except for the fact that every 20 pops you'll pay a single consumer good if they're slaves. I don't really think it's worth it to change down to basic here, but you know, you do you. And then we're going to go off out into the galaxy and start looking for other forms of life. On my capital, I've made sure to build up lots of additional mining, energy, and food districts, even though I don't yet have pops to work them. The important word there is yet. I've also pushed up my alloy production. We're making 40 alloys per month, and I'm starting to build up a nice little fleet of Tier 2 laser corvettes. And what's this? We found some aliens that we can discover, and even better than that, there is also a primitive world here with 26 pops. Oh boy, this is going to be tasty. Now the main focus of this build is going to be taking the Nihilistic Acquisition Ascension perk. This will unlock the Raiding Bombardment stance, which in turn allows us to abduct pops from besieged planets and resettle them to our own worlds. Yes, that's the non-consensual immigration I talked about earlier. To do that, you just need to unlock any tradition in the game, finish it, get +1 Ascension perks. I've gone with Prosperity here to boost my early econ, but you can take anything you'd like. Well, we've met some disgusting looking aliens in the Velet Foundation. They are delightfully inferior to us with our 2000 fleet power here at year 13. Oh no, this isn't going to end well for them. What you're going to want to do is claim a single world, probably not one with any pops on, but if you do, that's alright as well. Make sure to send a diplomat to harm relations, and then declare them a rival. Now that we've declared them a rival, we can go for the humiliate casus belli. The only reason we're doing this is not because we actually want to win that one, but because it gives your opponent more reasons not to surrender. And we don't want our enemy to surrender, not one bit. Well, the war's gone pretty much as you could have expected. We've completely routed the enemy fleets and we're now in their capital system. I've turned on the raiding bombardment stance and we're about to begin raiding their capital. I'm going to unpause so you can watch just the absolute majesty of this broken strategy. Oh, we've abducted a pop. They're at 1% devastation. Oh, and there's another pop. Still at 1%. Oh, there's another pop. Oh, goodness me, another pop. Looking at our capital here, and the servants are starting to stream in. Every new pop we get is boosting our amenities, giving us more happiness, and also allowing us to fill up some of these jobs. We're going to keep bombarding this planet until they get down to the bare minimum of 2 pops, at which point we'll move on to the next planet in their empire. You see, ladies and gentlemen, as of patch 3.8, the raiding bombardment stance is a little bit broken. That constant pinging that you're hearing is me taking a pop, not once every month, not even twice a month, but roughly 3 times a month as I strip mine this capital planet of their pops. They're not even at 6% devastation. Not even fortress worlds could survive this level of bombardment. You could have 10,000 armies. It's completely irrelevant. I'm going to take every single pop you have and I'm going to laugh while I'm doing it. It has taken just 1 year and I've completely cleared out this capital world of over 30 pops. Now there's 2 left. I don't think I can get any more, so what we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to begin bombarding the next colony. And oh my goodness me, this is leaving us in a fantastic economic situation. Happiness amongst our pops has never been higher. We have a glut of servants. I'm building more and more districts. Our economy is booming. We have 77 pops and it's only year 18 and they're all on a single planet. And then along came a spider. Guy Zoomon is a fantastic general. One of the only really good generals, I should say. Beautiful portrait, don't mind if I say so myself. But they come with a fantastic kidnapper trait. Now, if you're running this strategy, grabbing this general on top of the nihilistic bombardment is chef's kiss, honestly. We're going to take this general, put it on our armies, and when we invade the planets, we will convert a random percentage of the pops on that world into slaves on our world. So once you've depopulated a lot of worlds, send Guy Zuman over and grab whatever is left. We can even use this bombardment stance against primitives. Yes, they now know who we are, they're fearful, but that's a shame as all of their people are taken to work on the glorious capital. One by one, we're just grabbing them. They've only got a few percentage and they can't cling on fast enough to the dirt as our bombardment stance simply yoinks them up into space and puts them on the glorious capital world. Now these folks are even better. They are lithoid, so they can live on any habitability and be absolutely fine. And if you're enjoying this video, please abduct that like button. In order to not have to deal with the fact that I do want my primary species growing on all the worlds I have, I've also made sure to enable population controls as a default on all of my slaves.
Are we the baddies?
You see, we won't be growing these slaves We're going to leave that to the other empires out there in the galaxy, who, of course, after we leave them to their own devices, are going to start repopulating their worlds and growing more delicious pops for us to capture. You're going to find that your neighbors do decide to become vassals of probably another AI empire because you've left them so weak. That's not a problem at all. Simply declare war on and vassalize whichever unfortunate empire has the audacity to take away your livestock. This will have the unfortunate consequence of getting not only a vassal for you, but also all of their vassals on your side as well. And here we go again. Oh my goodness me, they're subterranean. They should be able to handle this. We're barely going to do any damage, 0.01% orbital bombardment damage, but yet again, ding-a-ling, that sounds like money. And we're getting pops thick and fast. This is like, we're going on just normal speed here. We're getting a new pop from this planet roughly every 10 days. Yes, roughly every 10 days. That's 3 to 4 per month, depending on the RNG chats. I just can't even. I mean, in a multiplayer situation, this is literally broken. Other fleets could be flying in here to deal with my minuscule 11k. Meanwhile, I am stripping their worlds of all of their economic output. And by doing resettlement, moving some of these pops to the new worlds I find, I'm going to be able to make sure that no matter what happens, I'll have positive amenities and therefore positive stability. No one could even think of rebelling against the not Klingons and their great and glorious empire. We've done about a solid 30 years of conquest now. I'm now year 48 at 219 pops. Only 61 of those are my primary species. The rest, thankfully, are helpful slaves. And we have 127 pops on the capital. This is just beyond broken. I mean, I've got too many servants here. We're capped out on amenities, getting 81% happiness across the board. It's simply beautiful. No longer do any of my not Klingons even have to lift a finger other than by being specialists or rulers. And around this point, when you're starting to get multiple species, you'll want to switch over the species rights on one of your slave population. I've chosen the Red Thori simply because they have a minimum habitability of 50% on any planet, so they can go pretty much anywhere and not take too much of a negative. I've changed them over to indentured servitude, meaning they can work all of the jobs that are specialist and worker other than entertainers or soldiers. For that, of course, I'll be letting my domestic servants do all of the entertaining, and just to make sure that they are especially happy, giving them a whopping 10% happiness, I have been beneficent enough to give these slaves social welfare. It costs 2.5 times less than having a regular pop be a worker under decent conditions, and it's granting a 10% happiness bonus. It's simply beautiful.
I'm not a bad guy.
Keeping my primary species, my not Klingons, on stratified economy also gives me some great perks in that I get a 10x on my ruler political power. This means that they are very happy due to these excess amenities, and they have a massive political weight, overall making my colony, even though it's full, and I really do mean full of slaves, we have what, 35 slaves, 33 slaves on this colony. They have basically no voting rights. Who would have guessed? And as the galactic community forms, that simply gives us more targets on our raiding list. We might not be currently at the top by political power, but that's going to change very soon. A few more years have passed. We've faced off against the mighty Farine coalition, and we may have robbed them of 79 Farine pops. Yeah, that's my bad. I apologize. I'll close the door on my way out. We've also grabbed the Birian Union. We've made them into our vassals, adding more vassals, more research, and more cash to our coffers. And by jumping into supremacist and using all of this valuable money that we've got flowing in, along with selling a few of these slaves on the slave market, and oh boy, we can get some good prices if we put the right slaves out. Yeah, we can basically ignore our energy income by making sure we sell just a couple of servants at a time. There we go. That's 3 years worth of extra income for us. Meaning I'm completely ignoring the fact that I'm over my naval capacity here, and I can keep spending these $300 a month that I'm making on building more and more ships. But what do you think about the raiding bombardment stance? Is it truly broken in the latest Stellaris patch? Let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. And what's this? Another undefended capital with 18 pops. Oh yeah, I came here a few years ago. There's less pops here than there used to be. That's a fair point. But, well, we could just do the same thing again. There goes the first pop. Let's see. Any moment now we'll get... Oh, and there's the second. Lovely. It's great to depopulate the galaxy one planet at a time. I've got to say, slavery has never been this economical. Now, there's a couple of things I would recommend you go out and grab. First of all, either the cybernetic or the biological ascension paths. This will mean that you can take and make use of hive-minded pops when you abduct them. Otherwise, hive minds will be pretty useless to you because you won't be able to take their darn pops. You'll also find you start running out of space on your capital and your other worlds relatively quickly. There'll be no new jobs for anyone to do. As that's the case, I would go out and grab Arcology Project and make sure to build at least one, if not two, Ecumenopolis worlds. That will give you a whole glut of additional pop jobs because you'll get so many extra jobs per district. Here we're getting 6 metallurgists, or 6 artificers, or 6 entertainers, or 6 priests for just a single district slot, as opposed to the regular 2 you get with normal worlds. And we're just making an absolute boatload here in terms of alloys. 18 alloys per pop. It's just like, well, yeah, wow. Something I'd like to draw everyone's attention to in this patch is that the AI can actually get their crap together and put up a decent resistance. Here I'm fighting 3 different AI empires. We're over 100 years into the game, and they've managed to combine in a single system to get 1 million fleet power. I've got something similar, and we're going to jump in and see if we can actually take the buggers on. Crikey, this is going to be a lot of ships. Opening salvos from Titans, I believe, on either side. That's pretty nasty. Then we're getting lances coming in, arc emitters from both sides, kinetic artillery. This is looking like it's going my way quite a bit, actually. We've got quite a few more hull points than they do, and we're getting kiting happening, yeah. Even though they have a lot of fleet power, their ship designs simply cannot stand up to our concerted efforts. Our disruptors are really proving their worth. I absolutely love the way battles look these days. At the new combat rebalance, one of the main things it's done, in my opinion, is it's made the fleet spread out a bit more. And so, yes, you still have this kind of awful looking clumping while they're moving around someplace, but when they're actually in combat, they do tend to spread out, and it doesn't just look like a carpet, an absolute carpet of ships. If you ever wondered how battleships are constructed, here's the 3 pieces they come in. Or should I say cruisers even? Yes, using nihilistic bombardment, enslaving most of the galaxy should put you well on the way to galactic domination in very short order. Just be careful, because if anyone uses it on you, you will have hell to pay. I think nihilistic bombardment is going to be something we need to ban in PvP for the foreseeable future. Speaking of PvP, Montu's Multiplayer Madness returns for another installment on Sunday the 28th of May. Qualifiers will be the 2 days before that, that's Friday and Saturday. If you'd like to take part, if you'd like to compete for some nice cash prizes, or if you just want to watch, jump on down into my Discord server. There's a link in the description below, and go into the tournament channel. Lots of information is written just there. If you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to see some other broken strategies in Stellaris at the moment, how about minus 90% discount on your ship build cost? Yes, that would let you build 10 ships for every 1 ship you normally could. A 10x increase in ship build sounds pretty insane. If you'd like to see that, click the video on screen now.